Starting chapter 5, the emergency update. So it's page 47, and I'm going to just start reading, and I'll try to teach as I go along, but recognizing the teachers. Do you want good teachers or bad teachers? Because if you have teachers coming to you have to learn and you have to listen. In native spirituality is like that. When you grow up as a native, the elders and that, they teach you. If you don't want to listen, they don't bother with you, and they will make you go through things over and over and over until you do it right. And they'll tell you the same stories over and over and over till you understand the story and what it's teaching you. And even later in life, you may meet the same teacher, and he's going to try to repeat these things to see what you've learned and where you've gone, and all kinds of stuff. In the natives, we say we walk this certain road that we go on, and you start at one point, you go around, and you come back to the beginning. And we go on these little journeys, and we meet people here, and we go around, and when we meet them, it's an opportunity to see how much you've learned and how much you've grown and everything like that. And so in natives, there's a lot of things that are teaching, and we always say like a walkabout, right? In Australia, they talk about a walkabout. In natives, if you're into something and you leave it, you're saying you're going on your walkabout. You're going to go down a path to a point, then you're going to come back around to where you started. And this is where I love meeting people. I love seeing where people started their journeys and things, and where they've grown. Like when I meet a person first time in a sweat lodge, and I talk with them, and I glimpse things in that, and I'm like, oh, they're just beginning their walkabout. And then you see them go out and around, and one day they come back, and you see what they have learned and what they have done. So finding the right teacher is important to understand the light and the dark. It's always a choice. And like I say, God just sits in the center. And he's just patiently waiting for everybody to realize and make their own choices. The emergency update, chapter 5. Many of you already know the great number of us are planning to eventually emerge to the surface when enough of you are ready and willing to receive us along with our teachings. It will be our pleasure to reconnect with all of you face to face and teach you all we know, and these are the beings that live inside the earth. We will teach you how to create a life of magic and paradise for yourself and your loved ones, right where you are. We ask you to assist in spreading the awareness of our presence within Mount Shasta to all of those whose consciousness is ready to receive this information. Do what you can to support our emergence to the surface. It is my promise that you will never regret it. We notice that many of you want to know time and dates. Some of you are almost getting impatient. We ask you to understand that time of our emergence does not depend on us. We are ready. It is the surface folks. So all the people on the planet aren't ready, and they want everything, but they're not doing anything to be prepared. Yes, volume 1. So these beings want to come out and share all kinds of knowledge and help us in so many ways. And that's where the Sioux Indians talked about this spider people in the earth. The Ikatomi, the ones that saved them in the ancient times, they're going to come back out, and they're talking about it in this book, coming back and helping us. We notice that many of you want to know time and date. Some of you are almost getting impatient. We ask you to understand that time of our emergence does not depend on us. We are ready. It is the surface folks, the collective, who are not yet ready to receive us. To come out prematurely would be defeating the purpose of our emergence and would create definite setbacks. And in black, it says here, what will be required of us for you to come out? It says, first of all, we monitor and register the love and light quantum of the surface population. We measure the level of compassion and heart opening of the collective. At this time, it is about 65%. In order for us to come out, it will require a percentage of 90. This is only one of the factors we examine. There are several others we also consider very important. Much will depend on the level of consciousness and evolution of the collective, their awareness of higher vibrations of love, their willingness to live their lives as divine beings. And you have to want to be a divine being. You can't want to keep on fighting, fight the man, fight everything. You are now embarking on a grand adventure ascension. Those who will be able to stay on the planet beyond the next decade are those who have chosen to embrace their Christhood and divinity. That's where I say you got to become Jesus. You got to become these masters. You got to stop saying you can't. Personally, the planetary events are going to become your mentor to assist you in the direction. After millions of years of evolution on this planet, our Earth Mother has chosen to move on in her own personal evolution and take along with her those of humanity who are ready to make the same choices. That's where I say she's going to go up. She's never going to be a 3D school anymore. And people got to let go of that idea. Hey, Sonny Bear. So some of these distorted ideas in this new age spirituality, there's lots of things that got to get cleaned up and removed. So with the Earth Mother, she's ready to go into a higher, and she's been doing this for millions of years now. She wants to evolve, so we have to choose that, and that's part of understandings from natives and things like that. After millions of years of evolution on this planet, our Earth Mother has chosen to move on in her personal evolution and take along with her those of humanity who are ready to make the same choices. As a result of her choice, the Creator has given the Earth a mighty dispensation of light and love. Your planet is now flooded with new energies unlike ever before, and I talk about that all the time. These energies are increasing in intensity, velocity, and frequency with each passing day. 7 major gateways have opened from the Creator since 2002 that will greatly transform your planet by the year 2012 and beyond. In 100 years from now, your planet will be totally transformed, and we're going there really, really quickly. Each of those gateways contain a number of sub-gateways and portals that all of you must pass through in order to move on to the next step. By 2012, or perhaps a bit sooner, many of the initiates will be lifted to the fifth dimensional reality in a world of magic and paradise. In a little while, your planet will be transformed enough to become almost unrecognizable according to your present standards of living. The intensity of light is increasing daily. This will assist you in the great transformation that is needed in your passage into the most awesome and greatest adventure of all your lifetimes together. The bottom line is you will have to embrace your Christhood to get off the planet. For this, you will be given more assistance than ever before. This is the meaning of the second coming. All life on earth will soon return to the original perfection it was endowed with at the beginning of her creation. So we're going to go back to that Garden of Eden and all these higher things. There are other planets like Earth where people are still enjoying separation from God in the way of violence. There will be many new alternative choices for the soul who decide to stay behind. And that's where, like I say, the God, Creator never destroys anything, gives everything the opportunity to grow and evolve. So this is where this change, when the Earth Mother goes up into this higher, I said we will be like Orion, Pleiades, and other higher planets, then we'll be like the guardians over these other worlds and helpers. What does it have to do with your emergence? Beloved brothers and sisters, we are looking forward to joining with you as much as you are with us. We will not come to the surface until the majority of people on the planet have embraced love, compassion, and harmlessness towards all life forms and all kingdoms. It will also be required that a certain percentage of the population, not yet determined, will be aware of the emergence and welcome it. These are 2 main factors that will determine the time of our emergence, and there are several other considerations that will also come into play. with the event that will soon be surfacing for all of you, I hope. And then he goes back to 2006-7 or shortly after. There will be enough positive changes in the heart of humanity, that political scene, that we could begin to emerge to the surface in greater numbers to assist you along with the Earth Mother in going the rest of the way on your ascension process. When you are tempted to ask us dates of the emergence, we turn the question back on you by asking if you have yet met the requirements, dear ones. When will you, the collective, be ready to receive us? It is really up to you to do your homework and prepare yourself and others who are open for the awesome experience of our emergence among you. And it says, do you have an emergence plan? It says, yes, we do. We have an emergence plan that must remain undisclosed, one that will unfold with top secrecy in a clandestine way. At first, in various places, we will meet secretly with small groups of people and give them direct teachings and transmissions of our love and energies. These small groups will then go out and transmit our teachings to others who are ready and willing to hear. As more people become ready to meet with us, the circle of those with whom we will meet will become greater and gradually grow in a large group. And that's where Jesus taught the apostles. He would teach them things and they would go out teach and then come back later for more teaching. As this momentum grows, more of us will come out and assist when enough of these groups are formed around the planet and their members have kept their covenant with us. We will then gradually allow more and more people to meet directly with us until we have totally emerged among you. It might also please you to know that several of our people are already doing wondrous work in your dimension to prepare the way. None of them are allowed yet to identify themselves to surface folks. They are here incognito, and this is the way it must remain for the time being. Unless your vibration, alignment, and motivation resonates with a fifth dimensional consciousness, they will not contact you. Many of you are under the impression that we will come in your vibration, but this is not the case, and that's why I say you got to bring up your energy higher and higher and higher and higher till you match these. You can't stay down here and say, oh, I'll just have wine, I'll just do some medicine and get stoned, run around and do silly things. It's like you got to change everything in your life, and you got to want to become the light in everything to match this. The second wave of our greater emergence will not take place in the third dimension frequency. The rest of us are not planning to lower our vibration to your level except for those who are already living in that level of vibration. Though we will be tangible among you, not everyone will be able to see or interact with us directly. Understand that we may be physical, but we vibrate at a frequency that is much higher and faster than yours. And that's where the Earth Mother is at a 7 vibration here. She's vibrating at 7 hertz. She's going to go up to 11. And you have to want to match with the Earth Mother and these beings and move up here. And you can't stay down here. Oh, my sister and my family. Oh, those poor people. I need to save them. You do that, you're going to stay here. This book is called Telos. And there's 4 of them, Beatrice. And I just finished reading this book. It's called Keys of Enoch. And I'm trying to use this as a way of teaching and helping people understand. The rest of us are not planning to lower vibration to your level, except for those who are already living in the level of vibration. Though we will be tangible among you, not everyone will be able to see and interact with us directly. Understand that we may be physical, but the vibrations and frequency that is much higher and faster than yours. Thus invisible to most of you yet. Until then, it is our job to raise your vibration and consciousness at least 2/3 of the way to meet ours. This means that you will have to elevate your vibration to almost the 5th dimension level in order to meet us consciously. This indicates that when a greater number of us will be mingling casually among you, at first there will be those who will perceive and see us just as tangibly as you see and perceive each other. And that's why you have to have your third eye open. That's why you have to have these abilities and see and know all kinds of stuff. If you can't open your third eye and see darkness and evil and all kinds of things, then you won't lift your energy high enough to be able to do this. This means that you will have to elevate your vibration to almost fifth dimensional level in order to meet us consciously. This indicates that when the greater number of us will be mingling casually among you, at first there will be those who will perceive and see us just as tangibly as you see and perceive each other. There will, however, be a majority who will not. Gradually, it will come to pass that more and more surface folks will raise their vibration to the desired level and will join the ranks of those who can see and interact with this. And that's where it's like the energy. You have to want to allow this energy to bring you up, teach you, help you, and it attracts the teachers, it attracts all this. Like Jesus never wanted to be prayed to, and he wanted everybody to learn what he did. And that's where when people pray, they always look for a blonde white guy with blue eyes with long hair. He wasn't a blonde guy. He was a little guy with curly hair and dark skin. And when people pray, he pops in Joshua ben Joseph. But this other dude, I don't know who he is, but Joshua ben Joseph is a quiet little guy, and you'll see him appear. And like I said, he was small. If you see the icons in the Ukrainian church and really, really old Orthodox churches, they show a black guy with curly hair. They don't show a white guy like in the Bible. This indicates that when the greater number of us, we will be mingling casually among you. At first there will be those who will perceive us as tangible as you perceive each other. There will be, however, a majority who will not. Gradually it will come to pass that more and more surface folks will raise their vibration to the desired level and will join the ranks of those who can see and interact with us. We will then have an engagement together if you choose to meet the conditions, the open hearts. We are awaiting your readiness. We bless you, and we hold each one of you very dear in our souls. I am Adama. So going into the next chapter, on this page here it says, perfection is a state of beingness that keeps expanding forever until eternity. No matter how perfect anything or any state of being one reaches, there's always a greater level to open and expand into. This is what creates the magic of enlightenment, and that is Anamar, Ahnahmar. So chapter 6, Telos codes of entry. So it's going to try to give us some ideas about this. Yeah, today is yellow, so I'm wearing yellow pants, and this has yellow in it. So I was thinking of just wearing a yellow t-shirt or a yellow shirt, but I'm like, I got on my yellow pants. Like I say, this shirt here. I drink coffee once in a while. I drink mostly tea. Drink herbal teas, medicine teas, all kinds of different medicine teas. If you come here, I got like maybe 50, 60 different kinds of teas. So I'll start chapter 6, Telos codes of entry. From those of you who have become aware of our existence beneath Mount Shasta, we feel your great longing to come to Telos to meet us face to face. We feel your great desire to experience the wonder of magic and the enlightened civilization, to reconnect with your former family members who are living in Telos or elsewhere in the fifth dimension. On the inner plane, we feel your longing and hear your thoughts. When you come and visit Telos, no, let's start over. When can you come visit Telos? When will the door to Telos be open to the surface dwellers? So that's their questioning. It says, beloved, we want to share with you that your long wait is soon coming to an end. We foresee that it could very well happen before the end of this decade. We will start inviting small groups from the surface vibration for a visit. And that's where they said they would help people on the earth again, maybe even bring them inside the earth and teach and show them stuff. We will start inviting small groups from the surface vibration for a visit. We would like you to experience what can be accomplished in your world when the majority of the population adopt our way of life. You will acquire a total new perspective of how wonderful life on this planet can be if lived according to divine principles and true brotherhood. It is important for you to realize that at first, and for quite some time, the visitations will be made by personal invitation only. Do not be concerned with how these invitations will be expressed. When your turn to be invited comes, you have many avenues to make your invitation known. We have many avenues to make your invitation known to you. No matter where you live, because we live in the fifth dimension, awareness and perfection. While maintaining certain levels of physicality, we have the strict code of entry that all of those who will be invited must meet first. Be assured that your personal invitation will not be forthcoming until you meet the requirements of that code and entry. And that's why you got to stop wanting to fight. Because you can't go into the fifth dimension with anger, and you got to fight with this and fight with that and fight with Jesus and fight with Buddha and fight with Creator or whatever. Fighting with Satan and Lucifer and all this stuff. You can't do that. You want to go into fifth dimension, you better start erasing all those silly thoughts and beliefs from your mind. To explain in detail the full implications of the requirement is not the purpose of the message. Nevertheless, let me give you a general overview of what will be required. First of all, only those who have attained close to the fifth dimension awareness in their consciousness will qualify. This means that they will have to embrace unconditional love for self. So you got to really love yourself. You got to stop abusing yourself. You got to stop doing things that are not good. Love for self and for others as well, for all parts of life and all kingdoms. So you have to love everything in creation. The duality conscious will have to be unified at least 90%. It will also be important to have greatly balance your masculine feminine energy. That's where people gotta really, really allow themselves to let everything up. It's like I said, a lot of people would call me gay and everything and stuff like that. And like I say, you have to understand your feminine and your masculine. A woman got to really look at their masculine and be okay with it. Men have to really look at their feminine and be okay with it. And you have to balance these two parts of the self because they're both there. If you are two-spirited, don't worry about it. God doesn't judge anything. He created you to be that way and be happy. Find whatever is your joy and happiness, and you're not going to get punished for being what you and God agreed to. Natives have always understood two-spirited people. They never judged it. It's just the white man wrote that in the Bible to make everybody crazy. First of all those who have attained close to the fifth dimensional awareness in their conscious will qualify. This means that they will have to embrace unconditional love for the self and for others, as well as for all parts of life and all kingdoms. The duality conscious will have to unify at least 90%. It will also be important to have greatly balance your masculine and feminine energies. The way of harmlessness will have to be embraced in every area of your life. I leave it up to you to delve into your heart as to what all this means. This is your homework, dear ones. It will lead you to self-discovery, to the wonders of who you really are and the qualities of divine self that have eluded you for so very long. Second, you will have to clear and heal your emotional and mental bodies of all negativity, past and present. All the past and present records of pain, anger, grief, guilt, sorrow, trauma, shame, addiction, hopelessness, low self-esteem, negative imprints, miasms, etc. will have to be embraced and released from your subconscious mind. Solar plex and emotional body. And that's why when I do my prayer, like tonight when I do the Sunday live, I talk about the solar plex because it wants to hang on. And there's lots of cords and attachments, and we absorb things in and we hold it here and we trade. We give people our good energy and we take their bad, trying to save them. And we have to clean up the solar plex. And in my prayer, I say, from all the worlds, all the galaxies, everything, and you got to call back in all your good pieces and release everything that's not good. And you hear me pray this on Sunday nights when I do my prayer around 8:30. So miasms, etc., will have to be embraced and released from the subconscious mind and solar plex and emotional body. So there's an emotional body, and you have to understand it. You have to become stoic. You got to go into logic. You can't live in the emotional body, because it's, if you do that, then you're just going to destroy yourself. And you have to look at that, and you got to change it, and you got to understand it. Pull yourself out of that. Yeah, there's lots going on in people's solar plexus because they're trying to help people to heal and change, but people are just in fear and control and want to fight everything. Always looking for something to fight or attack. Because of the high energy vibration of Telos, any emotions or thought forms in the vibration less than divine love would be amplified over 1,000 times in your minds and feelings. That's why I say, if you have all these stupid kinds of energy and you go into fifth dimension, you're going to destroy everything plus yourself. And that's why everybody's got to get off this emotional cushion that they sit on with the "oh poor me" and "oh feel sorry for me" and "oh I'm ADHD" and all kinds of other stuff. You got to get off all that crap and be responsible. Less than divine love would amplify over 1,000 times in your mind and feelings. Unless you have diligently cleared those records, this could be traumatic. It would not be possible for you to stay in our vibration more than a few minutes. And that's why you got to really clean your life up. It's not a game. And if somebody's telling you haven't healed, don't listen to them, because maybe you have healed. And like I say, in the new age now, it's all about traumatizing you. It's like psychology. There's a lot of traumatization. There's a lot of things that are not actually helping people to cope. It's just trying to keep them afraid and stuck. And there's a lot of this stuff out there, and you got to recognize that. Third, only those who have completed their seventh spiritual initiation have attained or nearly attained the readiness for the ceremonies of their ascension will be eligible for our codes of entry. On this planet, the office of the Christ under the Lord Maitreya and Lord Sananda, known as the beloved Jesus in his earth ministry 2,000 years ago, is the place where you can apply to receive these initiations on the inner planes. Most of you are not consciously aware that these initiations take place on the inner planes, but nevertheless, they do take place and are governed by how you consciously live your daily life. Passing those initiations and moving on to the ascension and spiritual freedom has been the goal of all your many incarnations on this planet. The seventh initiation is certainly not the end of your evolution, but our code of entry requires that a candidate to enter into Telos must have reached the level of initiation. So you got to get to your seventh chakra. You have to bring all your energies and everything up here and use it right. With the new dispensation now available, these initiates can complete much faster now than ever before in the history of Earth's evolution. What used to take thousands of years to achieve can now be accomplished if you choose within the next 10 to 20 years. For each requirement we have just mentioned, there are many more ramifications. It is not our desire to make you feel that these goals are unattainable or inspire hopelessness. We know that it is possible for many of you to attain this level of consciousness in a reasonable amount of time. There are several thousand people on the planet who have already reached this level of initiation and beyond in the last few years. You may find them among some of the people you meet daily in your entourage. It is not necessarily obvious. Those who have attained this level and know it usually keep this information to themselves. Many more are constantly being added to the ranks of those who have achieved this level. And this is where the universe has given me lots and lots of things throughout my life that I carry. At some point, I will share it with the world when I'm given permission. But until then, I don't go there. People want me to share stuff sometimes, and I don't. And I tell little stories about my experiences and things. But like I say, there's a lot more. We mention these requirements to you because there are many of you who are already familiar with us but are not aware that there are codes of entry to come to Telos. Everyone who enters our doors, no matter who they are and where they come from, must meet the level of spiritual development needed to be introduced to the fifth dimensional vibration. As you diligently do your spiritual work and gain momentum on your pathway of ascension, you will soon be much closer to achieving these goals. As you open your heart to love, you will find that the initiations are much easier to attain than continuing to experience the difficult situations in which you find yourself. The refinements that initiation will bring to your conscious will open the doors not only to Telos but also to the new Lemuria and other places of magic and wonder. Remember always the love is the key, dear ones. Love will open all doors to you and quickly propel you on your pathway to your limitless spiritual freedom. From love you came and love you will now return. I am Adam from the Lemurian brothers or brotherhood. So I'm going into the next chapter. And like I say, I'm reading this really, really fast so you can get little bits of understanding here and there. And I'll stop and share along the way while I'm reading. Sorry, I go back over things, but I get a little lost where I was reading. So sometimes I read things over. And that's where I say invite these things. Understand and know. Understand what you're inviting. On my prayers, I say be really clear about what you're doing. The children of Telos. It says, do some of your children have direct contact with children living on the surface? It says, no, our children have not had any contact with surface folks for several hundred years. We hope and foresee that this will change towards the end of this decade. The only contact our children have with the surface people is through your television. Yes, we access your television network in Telos, and we monitor certain programs for the enjoyment of our children. And the question here, it says, do children from the inner cities meet others? They certainly do. They have a lot of holidays and celebrations, and we often visit each other from various subterranean cities and bring the children along for those celebrations. We are even open cultures, and we like to socialize and dance. We often visit friends and family from other cultures or cities, and they come to visit us. The doors are always open. There is no need for special occasions for those visitations. We all travel quite regularly between various cities of Argatha network, the other inner cities as well. When parents make those trips for whatever reason, social, family, or business, the children are usually invited to come along if they wish. Since it is always a treat for them, they rarely decline. And it says, the future of our children. So, next page. What does the future hold between your children and ours? When our two civilizations merge together as one, our children will also merge with your children. Your children and our children are basically not so different. And the emerging of the children with surface kids will be well and carefully planned. It will be a lot of fun and great adventures for the children of both civilizations. It has been said many times that this planet is rapidly moving forwards with the necessary shifts that will allow her to exclusively host an enlightened civilization. This means, my friends, that in the not too far future, the dark age on the planet will fade away. Our two civilizations will unite as one, including the children, for the glorious ascension we have been awaiting for so very long. Let all embrace and welcome the dawning of the new world as a phoenix rises out of the ashes. A brand new world of divine love and perfection will rise up with the crumbling of all your old limiting belief systems. You will let go of outmoded governmental systems, control and manipulate that you have been programmed with for eons of time. Compare the earth to the phoenix. She will rise and take you along with her. But first, you must let go of all of that no longer serves you. You must be willing to let go of the old, outmoded ways of life that have kept you in limitation and pain for so long. The ashes represent the purification that the earth and all humanity will first go through. Your future is bright, my friend. Keep your hopes alive for yourself and your children. The most wondrous world is awaiting them, and this is why they are here. They will show you the way. In their soul, they already know how. And that's where the children are being born. They already understand what they're going to be doing in the future. And this is where I talk about the children. They're amazing. And they're not like when I grew up in the 60s, they're totally different. So the next question says, growing up in Telos. This section is partially channeled from Adam through Aurelia Louise Jones and part information published by Charula Dux in Telos in 1996. In Telos, only when a couple is united together in sacred marriage, they are allowed to have children, since parenting in Telos is a long-term project. Couples desiring to have children must first take a special parenting training. On the surface, you must go through driver's education and to have a license to drive a car. But any inexperienced, emotionally unstable 16-year-old child can give birth. These surface children participate in all important responsibilities of bringing together life into the world without any preparations of understanding of life itself. And this is where we just have babies and we don't even think about it. Children have children. Children born in Telos spend at least 2 years in 24-hour care with both mother and father. This is most crucial for the psychological makeup of the child. The father takes the first 2 years of the child's life off from his civil duties so that the infant can have balance and equal time with the earthly representatives of Father, Mother, God. Since the government provides all necessities for living, the temple makes sure that it is virtually a requirement for all parents. So men have to spend 2 years off from work and they have to be part of the parenting all the time. A newborn child in Telos will actually receive a set of 10 godparents soon after birth. This has many advantages in Telos. A child will never feel that he or she does not receive enough attention, with an additional 20 daunting parental figures to guide them through their early years. It is usually arranged that all 10 sets of godparents chosen will have newborn children of their own. This way, even if you are an only child, you will always have surrogate brothers and sisters to interact and play with. As the children grow, they will always spend time living with of each other of godparents. So you'll move around different houses or whatever and share. This instills a subconscious acceptance of Father, Mother, God will always be present, since so much love from varying sources is provided to them. Children learn early on that they will always be loved, cared for, and provided for. Children being schooled at the age of 3 and their basic education continues until they reach the age of 18. Between 3 and 5 years old, 5 days a week, they attend a half day of organized play directed by learning basic social and art skills. Basics such as colors and numbers are taught in fun games. From 5 years on, they are all in school for a full day, just like school in your civilization. The language taught in school is a course of Lemuria, and Telos is Lemurian culture. The Lemurian language originated from the universal language of our galaxy known as Solar Maru, Solara Maru. Other planet root languages like Sanskrit, Hebrew, Egypt also trace their origins back to Solar Maru. While the English language is not mandatory for students, it is taught as an optional second language. Naturally, it is much desired that our people learn English, and nearly everyone does. As Telos is geographically located in an English speaking country, and the ratio on television shows from the surface are monitored for our enjoyment. All children desks are equipped with computers that link them to universal energies and information. Grids. Since our computer network is run by amino acid, a living force, it taps into the Akashic records and higher elements of the Christ directive and cannot be corrupted. Consequently, it provides historical information that is accurate and truthful. The teachers in all the schools of Telos are trained Melchizedek preachers and priests. The Telosian youngsters are old enough to get into some serious mischief about the age of 12 and need more time with other kids their own age. They will enter what is the term, the group. This group is sorority, fraternity of kids of their own age, usually in a group of 10 or 20. The children will experience all the wonders of puberty and adolescence together, made up equally of girls and boys. The group forms a bond that carries them into adulthood and beyond. A Melchizedek priest and priestess from the temple will be selected to guide the group through the various stages of growth. Almost like guardians, the group formats is also used in their schooling process, and all learning is experienced together. The group members will experience shared experiments, with discuss and grow through all the various issues of adolescence. The group is especially effective for handling classic teenage problems of resentment. This issue usually activates everyone into finding a creative outlet for the problem. Group members usually become close, lifelong friends, encountering and sharing all of life's milestones together. At the age of 18 and the completion of basic education, an individual then chooses the direction he or she wants for the next few years of their life. One option always available to them is advanced studies in the field of their choosing. Vast collections of records from advanced civilizations of the past are stored in record keeping crystals in the library of Telos. Sometimes, although not that often, a teen will choose to go directly into the Melchizedek temple and begin their spiritual training as a temple neophyte. Another option is to go straight into service in the Silver fleet of Telosian spaceships. Since all subterranean cities are active members of the Confederation, it is everyone's duty living in Telos to serve as at least 1/6 term in the Silver Fleet. There are dozens of fleets that serve this sector of the galaxy and other solar systems. The fleets are predominantly active are the Silver Fleet, the Amethyst Fleet, the Rainbow Fleet. Of these three, the Silver Fleet is made up almost exclusively of beings that were born on the planet, mostly from Telos and Poseid, the Atlantean city located under the Mata Gross in Brazil. The majority of scouts, more commonly known as UFOs, that you see in your skies are Silver Fleet scouts from Telos and Poseid. Many Telosians make a career out of serving the Silver Fleet, while others just complete their duty and go on to other services. Another option for graduation is the immediate. Another option at graduation is to immediately begin training for your life's work in Telos. Young adults are expected to enter the general structure of the Telosian society. Everyone living in Telos after a certain age begins to participate in the daily workforce, 5 days a week, 4 to 6 hours a day is dedicated to working. This is how the city keeps running. Everyone gets to choose where they want to place their energy. thus avoiding drudgery and creating enthusiasm instead. For example, if you're a teen that loves the earth, plants, flowers, he or she can work in the hydroponic gardens to help keep the city abundantly supplied with fruits and vegetables. If a young girl has a strong desire to become a dancer, she can go to the temple and be trained by temple dancers. Other options include communications, transportation, cooking, manufacturing, household work, etc. At the age of 18, our children begin their dance for life. I am Adam, always at your side. So, chapter 8. So, I'll read that one and then I'm going to take a little break to go to washroom. And it's quite a long one, so I'm not going to be able to read it all. So, I'll read part of it and then I'll stop and then I'll come back to it. So, it starts at page 63 and it goes all the way to 81. So, there's a lot of stuff in this one. In chapter 8 is the Temple of Union, Adama and Anamar. Greetings and blessings, my beloved. This is your friend Adama. I am here today with Anamar, one of our elders from Telos who has been living here since the beginning of our lives in Telos, a little over 12,000 years ago. Anamar lived in Lemuria over 2,000 years prior to the loss of our continent. He has maintained the same youthful body for 14,000 years of your time. He is very tall, energetic, and handsome, and looks to be about 35 of age, or even younger. During the time of Lemuria, Anamar and his twin flame built a temple of wondrous beauty called the Temple of Union. This temple was built in honor of the love and union of the twin flame. Anamar, with his twin flame, has been a guardian of the unfed flame of immortal love for the planet ever since. I now step back to allow Anamar to continue. Greetings, I am Anamar. Blessings and love to all those who will read this message. In this time of Lemuria, most men and women are sharing their lives with their beloved twin flame. The majestic temple was the location where wedding ceremonies took place. Couples adorned themselves in great beauty and elegance to consecrate their union with the energies and unfed flame of immortal love. Although the flame of love has been extinguished from the surface vibration with the sinking of Lemuria, it has been preserved in the Temple of Union, which was lifted up in the eternity into the fourth dimensional vibration when our continent was destroyed. This temple still exists to this day in an area near Mount Shasta, where it was originally located. It is now vibrating at the fifth dimension frequency. Although the former physical structure no longer exists in your third dimension and cannot be seen in your reality, be assured that it is very real and tangible to us. The temple is very active and continues to this day to perform all the functions it was intended to do from the time it was built. This temple dwells in the crystal city of light that exists in the etheric in the area of Mount Shasta. The city extends approximately 25 to 40 miles in diameter. You have been promised that this wondrous luminary city will eventually be lowered into a more physical expression of the, and many of you will be able to see and enter it upon invitation. You are asking when this is going to happen. The exact time is still unknown even to us. We anticipate it will be towards the end of this decade or soon after. So we ended this decade and we're started into this new one. So the energy is building more and more in that way. When this happens, this temple, along with all of the other wonders of the Crystal City hold, will be available to those who will match the vibration in their spiritual development. Uriel, also known to you as Louise Jones, had involvements with the temple in the time of Lemuria. She rediscovered the location of the temple a few years ago while taking a walk within a couple of miles of her home in Mount Shasta area. At first she recognized that it was a very special place but could not unveil the mystery. For reasons unknown to her consciousness, she felt drawn to return frequently to the area for a walk and a meditation. Several times a week we watched her walking up the hill, and she followed the nudgings of her heart. It always was with delight and joy, especially the first time that we watched her coming. We patiently waited for the day we could communicate with her more directly. Unknown to her outer mind, each time she came, she received on the inner plane our warm welcome along with the much attention, love, and hugs from us. It had been several thousand years since we had an opportunity to communicate consciously with any surface dwellers in that location. There are those living in the area who also come to the hill for walks from time to time, but none of them ever have any kind of awareness as to what this location represents. More clarity was eventually offered to our dear Ariella about the nature of her favorite location and the strong attraction she felt. Her love and high degree of respect for the sacredness of the site allowed us to unveil ourselves to her more openly and reveal in greater measure detail to her former involvement with us in the sacred temple. In the fall of 2001, Ariella performed a wedding ceremony in that location, consciously enrolling our full presence in the presence of the light realm. It was the first time since the sinking of Lemuria that the wedding ceremony took place in the physical octave directly within the location where our fifth dimension temple of union is situated. This was a most joyous moment for us, and we offer our full support. I, Animar, totally merged with my beloved Ariella during the ceremony. Unknown to her outer mind, she was preparing herself for a wondrous experience. Following her inner guidance, she suggested this special location to the twin flame couple who wanted her to officiate at their wedding ceremony. The Telosians, along with the Lemurian council and the beings of the light realm, were very happy with the event. Literally hundreds of thousands of us, running into the millions from the invisible realm, attended this wedding in our etheric bodies. In a way, it was fortunate that she could not see us, because it could have only been rather intimidating considering the size of the crowd attending. It seems that everyone from Telos and the light realm of Mount Shasta were there, applauding and reactivation of the flame of love for twin flames for our temple into the physical octave. And this is where there's a higher energy that matches certain kinds of people. And it was only after the wedding, and that's where they say you gotta wed with your higher 8th, 9th, and 10th chakra. This energy has to come in, and you got to marry your higher self. It was only after the wedding that we unveiled to her more information about the true nature of the temple and the wondrous activations that took place for the planet during the ceremony. By following her heart and inner guidance, we were amused to see how she provided for us the opportunity to create this wondrous opening into the physical plane. The scenario we had been waiting for a long time unfolded in perfect sequence without her having any clue as to what was really taking place besides the wedding ceremony. This too made us smile. Many of you have discovered that marriage relationships have often been devastating, bringing more stress and disappointment than joy and sustained happiness. The reason for this is stressful relationships are based on duality rather than oneness of divine love. Unless the relationship is based on that oneness, it can never fulfill the longings of the heart that you have so deeply felt. And this is what people don't understand when they get married and they always say, oh, I love you, and all of this other stuff. But this is trying to explain something way deeper that's inside. I'll just read it one more time really fast. Many of you have discovered that marriage relationships have often been devastating, bringing more stress and disappointment than joy and sustained happiness. The reason for this is that stressful relationships are based on duality rather than oneness of divine love, that connection with the Creator and whatever purpose you're meant to be together. Unless the relationship is based on the oneness, it will never fulfill the longings of the heart that you have so deeply felt. Now, my friend, allow me to lecture you a little. As the guardian of the unified flame of love, I have observed your relationships for a long time. For those of you looking for a beloved somewhere else outside of yourself, let me say that this is not the way it will happen. That's why you got to love yourself and bring this energy in. Your beloved is also a part of you. He or she may have a body in another world, but meeting your twin flame when one is not fully ready for that initiation is a bit tricky. It is not often in your best interest because of the experience of the third dimension does not always offer compatibility of character and spirit unless both parties have reached the same level of readiness and evolution. Listen to this carefully. Okay, I'm going to read this next little part here. Look for the love that you are yearning for inside you first. Every cell, every electron of your heart and soul. Begin first to develop a relationship in unity and consciousness with inside yourself. It is all there awaiting your attention. Your divine counterpart lives within you as well. The relationship that you are seeking is nothing more than a reflection of your direct relationship with your own divine self. If you can't love yourself, you're not going to love anybody else. And nobody can love you if you don't have any way of loving yourself. Hey, Chris. And this is where you got to go back to you. You got to go inside you. You got to figure you out. Because once you love yourself, then you'll radiate this love. You'll attract somebody they'll never take from you. They'll just radiate love to you as you radiate to them. You won't control them. You won't manipulate them. You won't do anything. You're going to allow them to become whatever it is. And you'll learn how to live together and become happy. But first off, always love yourself. Like I say, you become very selfish and independent about you. You don't allow people to cross things. You have boundaries. And that person will respect and allow that. And you learn to grow in all kinds of things. Your divine counterpart lives within you as well. The relationship that you are seeking is nothing more than a reflection of your direct relationship with your own divine self. Your 8th, 9th, 10th chakra, this higher energy. When you learn to love yourself in every aspect of your essence, every aspect of your divinity, every aspect of your human experience, you got to love everything about yourself, even your teenage years, everything. Your aspects of human experience, then the divine love for self becomes the ruler of your heart and your life, and you will no longer look anywhere else. You will know that you have found it, and it will not really matter what form it takes. Your heart will feel full and completely satisfied. And that's where people got to come to. But they're trying to find love outside of themselves. They're trying to pet people like little cats and dogs and dress them up pretty and do all kinds of stuff. That's not love. Like I say, you love yourself and the other person loves yourself, and then you're happy together. At the stage of development in your spiritual life, the mirror or reflection of perfect love for self will manifest itself tangibly in your life. This is divine law and cannot fail you. If you do not have it manifest in your life, either you are not ready for it, or on the inner planes you have chosen to wait. It will show up in your life in divine timing, and any waiting period will not matter because you have already united in your heart with the object of your yearning and your love. Once you have attained this state of divine love in your heart, nothing can be withheld from you, not even your own twin flame. In the name of divine love, may I suggest to you that you start now looking for your beloved within your own self. This is the quickest way to be united with your twin flame. You do not have to put ads in a paper or visit a single club, or he or she will literally fall into your lap. You will not be able to avoid it. May you meet all your tests in the embrace of divine love. It is my pleasure to unite you to come to my temple at night, where I give classes for those desiring to unite with their twin flame. And this is where you can ask to go to this place. I'm not offering to become a matchmaker, as you call it in your language. We are willing to assist you in reconnecting with the wondrous parts of yourself that you abandoned a long time ago. That every part that will magnetize to you, your beloved, and everything else you desire in your life. And that's where everything will flow to you. Friends, everything, whatever it is, it's all going to come together. You will not magnetize your beloved for you, but you will show, or sorry, we will not magnetize your beloved for you, but we will show you how to accomplish this for yourself. We will teach you the true meaning of divine union. And that's really important to understand, because when you leave this body, you're all alone. You're not going to be worried about who you were with here. You're not going to be worried about reincarnating with your mom and dad and your brothers and sisters. You're not going to give a shit. You're going to reincarnate wherever. It might be in other galaxies. It might be in another culture, a different part of the world, whatever it is. You're going to do, and you're going to create a body, and you're going to go on living. You're going to forget about a lot of these other things. You ain't going to waste your time in that trying to live in the past. Before you go to sleep at night, ask your guides to bring you to the Temple of Union to attend our classes. My fellow teachers and I will be there to receive you. I promise that we will have a delightful time together. If you don't remember your journey with us, don't worry. With the thinning of the veil, many more of you will eventually open to the embrace of your many delightful nightly adventures. And that's why when we dream, we go all over the place. We go many, many places. That's why we create all kinds of dreams. And we have all our answers to what we're creating and everything in our life. We're choosing it. And this is important to understand. So when you're traveling in dream time and you can't remember, don't worry about it. With the thinning of the veil, many of you will eventually open to the remembrance of the many delightful nightly adventures. I, Animar, guardian of the Temple of Union, and unfed flame of immortal love. Then I'll go into the next part. It says marriage in Telos, and then the question, and I'll read on. And say asking to go when you go to sleep at night to go to the Temple Union. They understand what you mean, your angels and guides. They know where this is. They know how to get you there, and you can ask this and start learning to love yourself so you can start attracting everything. And like I say, where it explained about love and why relationships on the planet don't work. And it gave you that explanation and how you need to understand it differently. Because people want to have somebody spiritual in their life when they haven't healed or grown or done anything. And if you're still in an angry, negative mood and still wanting to live the old way of living, and somebody really spiritual shows up in your life, you're going to destroy them. And that beautiful person you really wanted will leave it and not come back. And this is where you got to realize, well, if you really want this, what are you going to do for it? Because you have to change yourself. You have to bring your energy up, and both people have to work on one another. And you can't look for the negative in the relationship. Usually people that get together for 6 months, they don't look for the negative until about 6 months. And they're just excited doing everything, and then 6 months, something happens, they're going, oh, and you just start hating one another. And then within 2 years, you just destroy one another. And you won't do that if you love yourself. Because you're going to be really, really patient. Like I say, when you pray for your partner, you're going to want the right person. You're not going to settle for anything less. You're going to want somebody who's sober. You're going to want somebody who's drug-free. You're going to want somebody who's done with all the dysfunctions, going to rainbow parties and Burning Man and every stupid thing traveling around the world. And, and they're just going in and out of places and doing the guru thing and the, New Age healers and all kinds of stuff. You're not going to put up with that. You're going to really, really decide that whatever you're letting into your life, this is long term. And if it's there for 100 years, 1,000 years, whatever, you're going to grow with that person in the right way. It's not a game. People play this game of, oh, I want this. And then they do everything and destroy it, and then they sit there and go, oh, poor me, oh yeah, he was an asshole, oh yeah, she was a nasty this, and they sit there and they do this, and they don't go, well, What did I do in the whole relationship that would have made it worth everything? Did I just pet them? Did I put them in nice clothes? Did I make them pretty? That's not love. It's like buying a dog and putting a raincoat on it and taking it out every day, throwing it a little bit of meat in that, and it comes and licks you, and every now and then you pet it and it barks and dances around for you. Or a cat, meow, whatever. That's not a relationship. You want to be with somebody that's going to just help you, whatever it is you're doing in life. If you're creating a business, wherever you're going in life, you're going to do it together. And you want to take the time to have that right person. You don't want to keep getting hurt. Oh, well, I'm just going to shack up with another guy and he's going to lay around with a beer around his belly and he's going to bark at me to tell me to open another one and turn on the TV for football. That's not a relationship. That's babysitting an ignorant person. And like I say, what it is you want, you're going to really decide to become patient and make those right choices in everything you do. But you got to start loving yourself first. And we learn to accept abuse and other things, and it's like you got to change that. So ask to go to this temple of union every night you go to sleep. And stop worrying about God is going to punish you for your sexual desires. When you were a baby and being born into the world, He already knew that about you. He's not judging you for who you are. You just got to find that right person you feel good about and you want to spend the rest of your life with, not fighting and arguing. So starting on page 68, marriage and Telos. Many of you are wondering about how we view you. Many of you are wondering about how we view our romantic relationships in Telos, and if we have marriages and families like yours on the surface. Since we live very long lives and the potential for a larger family is greater, or is great, careful planning of this benefits all to the utmost importance. Unlike surface folks, no one's allowed to start a family in Telos until they have gained the maturity and readiness to initiate such an important step. So they take a long time before they do anything like even think of being together. We do not allow children to give birth to children, so to speak, like you do in the third dimension. We have two different types of marriage in our society. The first one is the bonded type of marriage. Two people who are attracted to each other romantically decide to unite in a bond marriage union that is not necessarily permanent. They get married and they live together to learn from and with each other, to grow in maturity together, to experience life, and to enjoy each other to the fullest. They do this only as long as they are both deeply happy and satisfied with the relationship. There is no obligation for them to stay together, and these unions are not necessarily a lifelong commitment. Couples engaged in bond marriage are not allowed to have children. The raising of children is not a primary goal to these marriages. These marriages can last anywhere from a few short years to several hundred years or longer. Birth control is not an issue for us. The birth of a child is considered a very precious and grand event for the incoming soul. A child is conceived by invitation only. We have no such thing as an unwanted pregnancy in our society. A woman in Telos would get pregnant only by invitation and only after a series and well-planned preparations. Sexual unions alone do not manifest pregnancies unless the invitation to a specific soul exists. What you are dealing with in your society with unwanted pregnancies through sexual union is a result of distorted genetic mutation. This too will heal in time when your DNA codings become fully restored by the embracing of unconditional love of self and of all life forms. In a bonded marriage, couples may end their relationships at any time without hurting feelings or obligations towards each other, and then start another one if they wish. This way, no one stays in a relationship for the wrong reasons like you do in your society. Every couple in Telos is very happy because there is no reason to stay together unless there is a deep love and satisfaction to be with each other. These marriages are considered part of the many experiences that life and evolution offer. When the couple feels they have come to completion of their time together, they thank each other for the time they have spent together on the path of life, and they move on, always remaining very good friends. And we don't do that on this planet. We destroy one another. All they need to do is apply to Lemurian Council of Telos for dissolution of their marriage, and it's always granted without any dilemmas. So you never promise till death do you part, because that's part of bullshit from the church. And when you make that promise, you never want a divorce. You stay with one another because you don't want to lie to God. So they make you believe in that bullshit. And they wrote that in to mess this world and everybody up. So the next question, would it be unthinkable for any of us to consider staying in a relationship unless there is total harmony, fulfillment, and deep purpose? And it says, our second type of marriage is committed or sacred marriage. It is only in this type of marriage that couples are permitted to have children and apply to bring new souls into the community. For a couple has been involved in a bonded marriage for several decades or for a few hundred years, they may decide they have experienced each other long enough to know with absolute certainty that their love for each other is flawless and long lasting. They may then wish to make a lifetime commitment to each other. Since we have become immortal, a lifetime commitment for us would normally mean a very long time in our society, extending into thousands of years. In a committed marriage, there is no longer an option of dissolution of the marriage, or what you term divorce. For this reason, a couple already in a bonded marriage for a long time has to be very sure of their commitment to each other before they choose to engage in what is considered a permanent relationship. They stay together until such a time as one of them or both are ready to move on to a higher realm of evolution or service. In this case, one or both would leave Telos to go to a planet or a new level of their conscious. This would happen only after very long life together and after their original family has matured to a few generations. In this type of marriage, one or two or sometimes three children may be born. The gestation period for a mother to be is 12 weeks only, so a woman's only pregnant for 12 weeks. Since the couple had already lived together for a very long time in the bonded marriage, they have accomplished whatever they wanted to experience together as a couple. They are now ready for the next step and have gained enough maturity to know how to be accorded the privilege and honor of starting a family. Next question. Only to our more mature and more evolved people in the privilege of bringing forth children granted, giving birth to noble and more advanced souls, thus perpetuating an enlightened civilization. Like a lot of people on this planet are into sex magic and all kinds of different things. They use sex for manifestations and all kinds of stuff. In this higher fifth dimension, it's not about that. And that's why you take your energy from your base chakra and you bring it all the way up and you bring it up here. Our second type of marriage is a committed or sacred marriage. I already did that one. Yeah. So only the mature and the more evolved people in the privilege of bringing forth children granted to give birth to noble and more advanced souls, thus perpetuating an enlightened civilization. In our society, we have no orphans, nor children who are abandoned or raised with difficulties a single parent has to face in your society. Our family life is so carefully and wisely planned that our children never have to suffer such traumas as being unwanted, neglected, or abused. We have no children struggling to raise children. Each child is considered a precious gift from God, loved and honored not only by the parents, but also by the whole of our community. Our civilization is fully aware of the sacredness of the role of bringing forth children. This undertaking is never taken lightly, nor undertaken with appropriate training. We pray that on the surface you will soon start to honor the raising of children in a more enlightened and responsible way. Next thing, relationship and sexuality in Telos. Adama, Adama, I say Adamos, and Cindy says it different. Please talk about relationships between men and women. Tell us, how is sexuality handled between people in Telos? How can people in the third dimension evolve in these types of relationships? It says, greeting, my beloved. It is with real delight for me and for my team to be spending time with you in your energy field as you read our words. It is our most heartfelt desires to impart a greater understanding of divine love and their applications to you. The way we express our love in Telos is not very different than any other galactic community in the solar system or the universe. Though other civilizations, other planets may express their lives differently than us, we are all living and applying universal law, which are the same for everyone. How life is expressed from civilization to civilization may vary slightly or greatly, but the core principles are the same for everyone. You may call it unity or universal consciousness. Our relationship and sexual expressions in Telos reflect a consciousness that is much more evolved and mature than yours in our understandings of various applications of love. To begin with, the curriculum for relationships is union in oneness, in an embrace of experience of divine love. For a very long time in your dimension, relationships have been based on duality consciousness. Now, dear ones, you have to become very wary of these types of relationships. They do not work and which do not fulfill your heart's desire. Your relationship, for most part, have caused you various levels of pain and heart longing. You are now yearning very deeply to gain a wiser understanding of relationship. Many of you are now waking up to the reality of the distorted programs you've hold about relationships, and you are opening your heart to balance the masculine and feminine polarities within your being. This is where I say you have to understand your male and female sides, and you have to be able to have both sides. First of all, know it all begins with you. Your significant other is simply a mirror of you. So if you really love yourself, your partner is going to really love themselves. They're not going to need you to do anything. And that love is going to be there for one another, supporting. So it's simply a mirror for you to evolve with and learn from. No one can love you more than you. You can love yourself. Neither can you really love anyone else within the meaning of true love more than you can love yourself. Consider this. When are you going to start loving yourself? When are you going to start really wanting that true happiness? When are you going to be patient to find something that's so beautiful you can't ever destroy it or do anything wrong? But first of all, you got to love yourself. Next question. Whenever you are looking for someone to give you the love that you are not willing to give to yourself, you create need. And that's what people are all needy. I need, oh, I need. They do this little dance. You put a thing on the forehead. Need, I need. Little flashing neon lights. You do not embody the appropriate balance that will magnetize to you the type of relationship you are yearning for. The relationships you so desire is then based on needlessness rather than oneness. This, my friend, will never work, at least not for very long. Remember that in the unbalanced relationship, both partners mirror to each other these imbalances of neediness or ownership or unrealistic expectation or control, manipulation, and so on. You know the entire litany of complaints about relationships in your dimension even better than we do. Whenever two people are whole and complete within self, with balance and between their feminine and masculine energies, they are so much in love with themselves that they are not needy for someone else to fulfill their emotional needs. They feel whole, happy, and successful. They exude the joy of life with or without a partner. They do not feel a lack of love or the emptiness within that those who are needy and unbalanced feel. When this balance is achieved, then and only then will I am of the being issue the call for the right relationship to show up in your life. And only if it is your desire in your present pathway, this divine union with the twin flame of your heart can manifest in your life only by the invitation of your higher self. That's why you got to connect with these three other chakras up here. Next question. In Telos, we honor ourselves to the extent that none of us would ever accept or settle for a relationship that is less than 100% fulfilling on all levels. And that's where you're responsible to you. Like I say, the joy should be happy inside you. Nobody should make you happy. Nobody should be, like I say, petting you like a cat or a dog or whatever else. You got to learn to be self-sufficient and love yourself. In Telos, we honor ourselves to the extent that none of us would ever accept and settle for a relationship that's less than 100% fulfilling on all levels. Our society, we consider each other equal and we honor each other each other's divinity and soul path. Through your society is gradually changing. The women are now opening to their feminine potential as equal partners. There are still a way to go. Many of you ladies who tolerate inequality as well as verbal and physical abuse. Too many of you do not feel worthy of being loved, and you tolerate beating, deprivation, and violation of the integrity and freedom. Too many of you still think that this is what you deserve, and you perceive abusive relationships as a normal way of life. Even in the US, this consciousness still exists for many. It exists even more tragically in several countries of this planet where women have absolutely no rights. This is where certain countries I really don't like, where they say women don't have souls or lower than dogs. And they treat women really bad. They don't want them educated. They don't want them self-empowered. They don't want them to have businesses. They don't want them to be, and they keep them like animals and they treat them really bad. And there's some countries on this planet I hate for the way they treat women. And women are starting to rebel against that, and I talk about that. And women are starting to stand up and go, no more. And women are becoming business people and everything, and they're men who are staying home raising the children, while the woman goes out and creates a big business and corporation and pays the bills and does everything, and she's happy, and he's at home being the wife and cooking and cleaning and taking care of everything for his partner and his children and all that other stuff. And this is where that balance is trying to come back. You know what and where I mean. You have seen it in your newspapers and television news. In our society and in all evolved societies, men and women consider each other as two aspects of God. The woman represents the aspect of Divine Mother, and the men represent the Divine Father. There is honor and respect between both couples at all times. This does not mean they have always agreed, but even when there is a difference of desire or perspective, they honor each other's viewpoint and do not fight or argue over it. They do not have this kind of an attachment to being right or wrong. They do not love each other any less because of the differences of perspective. And that's where I give Cindy free will to choose and think and do whatever she wants. I don't try to tell her what to do. I don't tell her she's got to live like me or anything of the kind. I allow her, and I've always allowed her to choose. I allow her to write her story and become everything she chooses to be and show the world and feel beautiful and whatever it is inside her. She needs to see that. I can't think and do that for her, but I can support her and be there in every way. Couples spend as much time together as they wish. They have all the time they want to nurture, love, and show their appreciation for each other as partners, because we work approximately 20 hours a week. The rest of the time, we are free to use our time as we wish. Couples have much time to enjoy each other's company in their homes, in the many societies and artistic gatherings of our community. They are never pressed for time to nurture each other in many creative ways. They love to lavish each other with little attention, tenderness, and affection. They express their sexuality and intimacy with each other as often as they want, only in a beautiful, relaxed atmosphere. Relationships in Telos are not subject to the physical hardships of survival and the financial difficulties that you have to deal with in your society. Relationships between men and women do not have the same level of stress that you have, and it is easier to keep consistent the love and the harmony between couples. Because our love, our mature consciousness, and our honoring of the earth, there is a constant flow of supply from the universe to fulfill all our needs. This is what you are moving towards in the very near future. We do not have to earn money to pay rent or feed our children, to pay medical bills or taxes. All commodities of life are free for everyone. The tyranny in your world will soon come to an end, hopefully within the next 10 to 12 years, and your overall stress will diminish greatly. And then the next question, tell us about relationships of young adults and teenagers. It says experimental relationships are also permitted when our young people reach a certain age and their sexual hormones become very active. We do not force them to suppress these natural desires when they reach the age of 13 or 14. They are allowed to experiment with sexuality with each other under the supervision of the priesthood. These wise teachers prepare your youth to express their sexuality and maturity and responsibility. They are then allowed to go out on their own and experience what they have been taught. Their sexuality is always expressed with pure joy and delight in each other. Eventually, their youthful need to experience with more than one partner diminishes until there is a mature desire for commitment. And a lot of people, they never get over wanting really, really, really lots of couples. Hey, Loretta, I haven't seen you here for a while. Well, I'm glad you're here. I'm reading a book Telos trying to teach. I read the other book, Keys of Enoch, and I'm trying to teach and give answers to lots of things that are going on the planet, and using this book in different ways. So back to the children. They are allowed to go out on their own and experience what they have been taught. Like I say, a lot of people, they spend all of their lives wanting really, really, really lots of partners. They never grow up and they never get past that. And so, like I say, at some point you gotta, if you really want a person to be with for 100 or 1,000 years, then first start loving yourself till you feel good, then attract that right person, and then spend the next 100,000 years learning about one another and being happy. Their sexuality is always expressed with pure joy and delight in each other. Eventually, their youthful need for experience with more than one partner diminishes until there is a mature desire for commitment. In this way, our youth adults and Telos are free to experiment with their sexuality as part of their maturing process. There comes a time when two souls will wish to unite together to share their soul path or simply to have a very strong affinity towards each other. Choose to make a commitment. It is usually a commitment for greater growth, not necessarily with the perspective of permanence at first. When two souls wed in the commitment marriage, they honor each other as part of the divine whole. Rarely do these relationships experience much stress and may last for several years to several hundred years. If or when both parties feel completion in their experience together, they part in a very friendly and loving manner, and in the harmony of mutual agreement. They say to each other, "Thank you, my dear. It is wonderful to have had this opportunity of growth in the relationship with you and for what we have learned together. Thank you for the love, for the tenderness, the affection we have shared together, for the spiritual growth and the wisdom we have gained with each other. We shall remain friends for the rest of our lives, and we each go our separate ways to our next experience of life and soul evolution. Partners in Telos are very loving towards each other. When two souls are engaged to each other in the commitment marriage for a very long time, they experience great love for each other, and even after hundreds and thousands of years together, they usually are twin flames. Sooner or later, the two souls apply to the Lemurian Council for permission to be engaged in a sacred marriage. These unions are permanent, and they always stay together as long as they both live in this dimension. So in the fifth dimension, however long they are there. Yeah, these Telos books, they explain a lot of stuff around, like I say, when you're in the fifth dimension, we're going to do things different. And that's why I'm using this book to try to help people open up their minds and really understand that they got to do the work to change. Cindy has a thing out there for her birthday, Loretta. It's a $50 thing. You can sit with her half an hour, look at astrology and whatever else comes through. If you're up for it, it's her birthday tomorrow, and she's putting this out instead of asking for things she wants to give to people for her birthday. So she put it out there for anybody that wants a session with her for $50 for a half an hour. And I believe it's worth way more than that. Next question. Tell us how partners express their sexuality in Telos. In a sense, our bodies are not as physically dense as yours, and we can merge with each other in a much deeper and more intimate way. When we unite together, we merge our physical bodies as well as all our chakras in a union of love. We regard the sexual act as a union with the divine, and all of our chakras participate, always in alignment with the heart, which brings a much greater experience. Our sexual expression is based on engaging the fires of the head first. So they unite this part first. In our sexual expression on the surface, you must engage only with the first two chakras, these two one down here. The two chakras of creativity and survival. So that's what these two are based on, the two lower chakras. For those really in love with each other, you usually engage the heart chakra as well. In Telos, we would never engage in a sexual act without deep love for each other, nor for the purpose of gaining favor or for manipulative reasons. Because of our level of evolution, we have many more chakra activated than you do. We have the 12 main chakras that are fully activated. That's why I say you might be using your 12th chakra. And I say you can go up higher and higher and higher. We have the 12 main chakras that are fully activated, plus each of these chakras have 12 sub-chakras. And that's why I say there's things within things, wheels within wheels. So there's 12 sub-chakras that we engage as well. This makes 144 chakras that are engaged in our sexual expressions. When the love is very deep between two people merging together as a divine feminine and divine masculine in an expression of divine love, our energy of union resonates through the whole solar system. It is felt all the way back to the Father, Mother, God as a token of gratitude for their love and the opportunity for union. It becomes an act of real union from heart merging with the Creator energy. This is how we view our sexuality. Next question, distorted sexual practices. For a long time we have watched your sexual expressions from the greatest to the lowest in vibrations. We encourage you to reevaluate the negative emotional repercussions of sexual encounters holding little or no love for the other. There are still countries where woman's clitoris is removed when she is very young to ensure that she will never experience any sexual pleasure. Her goddess aspect totally denied. In entire cultures, women have been denied sexual pleasure by the male energy and also by those who have manipulated your planet's genetics by mixing sexuality with pregnancy. Let me add something else. So many women on this planet have turned off their sexuality, their goddess energies, because they have been abused, misused, desecrated, violated, repressed, and dishonored. In past ages, women in general felt that they were of little value beyond service as a sex object, a material possession for men's physical and emotional needs. It is now time for both genders to heal these deep seated wounds. Next thing, bringing forth children. We are totally free to enjoy our sexuality without the burden and apprehension of unwanted pregnancies. Pregnancies manifest only when the soul is invited by intention involve to evolve in our community. The pregnancy then takes place energetically in the subtle body and manifests physically. Only in sacred marriage are couples allowed to bring forth children. When a couple makes a decision to have a child, they go to the temple to discuss their intention with the head priest and apply for permission to receive this privilege. Only couples that have attained the high spiritual maturity are allowed to bring forth souls into incarnation. This is the way it is in all enlightened civilizations. When permission is granted for a couple to bring forth a new soul into our community, it is considered a very sacred calling. The parents to be are then in direct connection with the ones or more candidates from the light realm for that specific privilege. Once the candidate is chosen, many meetings take place at the inner level between the incoming soul and the future parents. There is approximately 6 to 12 months of preparation for conception. Soul path and purpose are studied carefully until all is readiness for that sacred commitment. So they call the spirits in that want to come through these people. And these people want to know everything to raise this child in the right way so they can fulfill all of these things. It would be unthinkable, so it says here, it would be unthinkable in our society to bring a child into incarnation without first implementing the highest and most complete preparations. We are totally aware of the impact of birth on a new soul will create in the community. When the soul is conceived, the gestation period is 12 weeks. The parents temporarily move to the temple for full-time preparation for the event. During that time, the parents to be lavish each other with the purest love they are capable as a couple. They listen to music that elevates their vibrations and surrender themselves into exquisite beauty. The members of the priesthood of the temple honor and welcome the soul that is destined to become part of the community. Our children are fully wanted and desired. During the gestation period, the soul that is waiting to be born feels fully and loved of the parents and the community. Our children are born slightly larger than yours. They have and they grow more rapidly. They also grow in wisdom and knowledge. Though they may experience some of the difficult children do on surface, especially at puberty, we have many avenues for assisting them to mature and grow through their problems. Each child pathway is always known and honored. Each child receives all the attention he or she requires. Next thing, is there anything that you can share with us on the 3D on how we can evolve into the same status of consciousness? Well, it is coming, dear ones. It is coming with increased awareness and awakened consciousness. Those who are reading our information are grasping the meanings and want to create a kind of life for themselves. They want to live the kind of enlightened society, as are aligning with these principles of higher consciousness. You are also creating it. It will evolve in the coming years. In the near future, more and more people will open their consciousness to the information we are sharing. As this number increases, you will see that things will start to change rather rapidly. You know that intentions create reality. When enough people desire change and formulate their firm intentions to create a new reality for themselves and for humanity, it will simply happen. It is important that at this time that each one of you becomes an ambassador of love, peace, harmony for yourself, for humanity, and for the planet. It is important that you start sharing as much as you can with others. That's why I say whatever you know you have to teach. You have to want to do. You have to want to do the work. You have to want to connect with spiritual people. You have to want to bring your energy up higher. You got to stop worrying about shame and all kinds of other silly crap. As much as you can with others around you, the information that you feel is making difference in your lives. Last question here. The time to be silent in your cocoon is over. You all need to shine your love, your light, and your knowledge to all of those on your pathway. And that's where people come into your life for reasons. And everybody, even people from the past, sometimes show up again, and there's a purpose to it. The more you shine and radiate your new understandings, the more it'll expand within you and on the planet. This is how evolution moves on. We have noticed among the people of the French population who have read our books that there has been quite a shift in awareness and the substantial increase in the desire for enlightened living. We have also noticed men and women honoring each other more. Everyone will have to start embracing their divinity and balance their polarities into oneness, whether they are a male or female body. Do you understand that when you are aligned with your inner polarities, you meet someone who is aligned with him or herself, you will begin living new experiences and relationships that will bring you much greater satisfaction. Right knowledge and information create food for the soul that brings transformation. As more people become aware and open their hearts to these concepts, the 100th monkey effect will reach the mass consciousness. Watch for the leap in consciousness and lifestyle that the people on the planet will embrace in a few years' time. The greater the number of people who will embrace this type of information, the faster the opening to higher consciousness will evolve for humanity. These concepts of divine law are now in the embryonic state in the heart of a few. As you share your new discoveries with those who are open to it, they will germinate and grow. Once enough people hold a desire in their heart for this kind of leap in consciousness, you will not be able to stop the growth from taking place, because the energies flooding the planet right now is supporting this like never before. It's just a question of informing a sleeping population through writings and teachings, bringing recognition of the truth that have been hidden from you for a very long time. So tomorrow I'll start on chapter 9.